Okay, so you're ready now? So I'm delighted to be speaking with Andrew Harvey, internationally acclaimed poet, novelist, translator, mystical scholar, spiritual teacher, and founder director of the Institute for Sacred Activism.
All these people in one person.
I know, it's amazing.
And in Cairns.
Yes.
And in this lovely bookstore.
Yes. And how have you been finding Cairns in this beautiful tropical weather?
I love Cairns. I've always wanted to come. I've actually been obsessed with Cairns for years since I read about it, and I wanted to see it, but this is my first visit.
Great.
And I was hoping for a completely sun-swept day, but it's been wild. I've been out in a boat and I got sick, and I've met some wonderful people, and I'm incredibly happy to be here. Really serious people who are doing serious things in the community. I'm very moved and impressed by the people I've met.
Great. And we're really glad that you've come to share your energy with us here.
My pleasure, my pleasure. Anytime.
So, a lot of people will know you through your book, The Hope, A Guide to Sacred Activism. Now, in this book, you talk about the human race being in an evolutionary crisis, a global dark night.
Yes.
So, can you share with us some of the indicators of this global dark night?
Well, I think anybody with half a brain and half a heart at this moment realizes the human race is in terrible shape. Mm-hmm. We're destroying our environment. We've created a global system which keeps billions of people in terrible, terrible conditions. We're killing animals in disgusting ways in their habitats. And we're lonely and deeply disturbed and separate from ourselves in ways that I think are obvious from TV and the violence and the pornography. So many people are in denial about the extremity of this crisis.
Yes.
But I think, in fact I know that it's a crisis that deeply threatens the whole of human life and a great deal of nature. And we have to wake up to what we're becoming and what we're doing.
Yes.
The problem is, though, when you wake up and see the extent of the devastation and how serious the problem is, it's very easy to become completely paralyzed and depressed.
Yes.
So we need not just to wake up,
Yes.
but to have a plan of being and of doing waiting deep within us so that we can stay inspired and start acting,
Yes.
which is the only way to go forward.
Yes.
A dark night is a very terrible passage, but it can, if you go through it, lead to a completely new kind of awareness, a new kind of being, a new kind of truth, a new kind of energy.
Yes. And you
my
have
work is
expressed
about
that.
Yes.
You've expressed that as being like the birth canal
Yes.
for humanity.
Yes.
And you have also expressed some specific things that people can do.
Oh, God,
Can you share some of those things that people can actually do?
Well, I think it's very important, anybody who's listening, to ask yourself, what of all the things in the world that cause me pain breaks my heart the most? What is the thing that really shatters my heart open? And when you find out what that is, do something about it. Join a group, create a group. I've created these groups all over the world have been created called Networks of Grace.
Yes.
Groups of between 7 to 15 people in ordinary circumstances. They're all over the planet. And people are coming together in the crisis to share their pain, but more importantly, to encourage each other and to sustain each other and to enthuse and infuse each other so as to actually start doing something. Because if you do something from the depths of your pain about this crisis with other people, what you'll find is that you'll feel so much better. You feel that life has meaning, that you have joy.
Yes.
The only possible way of keeping joyful in a crisis as deep as this is to start acting from the depth of your suffering to do something real about what's going on. Everybody has a way in through their own heartbreak. Some people will be heartbroken by animals, some people will be heartbroken by the way we treat older people, some people will be heartbroken, I hope many people will be heartbroken by what we're doing to the environment. I heard a lot, for example, this morning on the boat from environmental activists in Cairns about how the barrier reef is threatened, some of the victories that have happened because people have stood up, but also some of the dangers ahead in this vast ridiculous casino that they're thinking of building here.
Yes.
People in this area need to protect the beauty and holistic richness of this area. It's not just going to go on because God has ordained it. We've got to step up and be responsible for it. So if you love Cairns, and I've fallen in love with Cairns, then come together and do something to keep the beauty and truth of this place alive.
Beautiful. Thank you. And one of these things that you mention also in the book is 5 forms of service.
Yes.
So taking in 5 different realms
Yes.
that we can be of service.
Well, I think everybody can do these 5 kinds of
Yes.
service right now.
Yes.
And they're not rocket science. None of this is rocket science.
Yes.
This is actually a very simple message, although getting it across to a lazy, spoiled, entitled world in denial has nearly driven me round the bend, but I'm doing my best. And I know, I've just been with His Holiness the Dalai Lama for 5 days, and I'm sure that there are days when even somebody at his level thinks, when will they wake up? When will they realize the enormous danger they're in, their children are in, the world is in, and start getting real about the work ahead? I believe you can combine very simply in the core of your life 5 different kinds of service.
Yes.
The service to the divine, by whatever name you worship God. It doesn't matter whether you're a Muslim or a Buddhist or a Hindu or a Taoist or a lesbian acrobat, as long as you are connected to the source. Turn to that and do practice, simple practice of adoration and thanks and gratitude and praise. Love the divine, and the divine will start to reveal itself to you, and you'll be guided in the core of your life. The second kind of practice is really practice the service of being attentive to your deep self, of looking after yourself, because you can't hope to do this work unless you're really, really paying attention to your psyche, your health, your emotions. You've got to be in as good a shape as you can be, because this work is demanding and the times are painful and difficult and depressing. The third kind of service is really service to all beings, all human beings, but especially at this moment animals, because we've created a worldwide Auschwitz for animals. Animals are being tortured to death in horrible circumstances. We've just seen on Australian TV this video of cattle being brutally treated in an Israeli abattoir, but my God, that's just a tiny part of what's going on. 40% of African wildlife are being destroyed. Australian wildlife is being decimated by the passivity that we have before these things. So really, really to serve the whole of sentient beings, all human beings and all animals and all everything that's alive. The fourth kind of service is to wake up to your responsibility to your own local community. All of the problems that we feel deeply about in the outer world, you'll find reflected in your local community. So whichever one breaks your heart the most, turn up with some others and do something. Make some radioactive mischief. Have some fun becoming a human being and standing up for what you believe and annoy the right people. You'll find that this will give you a great joy. Yes. I think of nothing more joyful in my life than the kind of annoyance that I know I cause to all kinds of people who deserve to be seriously annoyed. God bless them, and may they attain enlightenment soon. And the fifth kind of service is really service to the entire planet, because at this moment we're all interconnected, we're all in this tragedy together. It's a crisis that affects absolutely every person on the planet. And there are so many ways that we can become far more congruent with our deepest beliefs. What do we invest in if you have some money? What causes do you support? What car do you drive? How do you drive it? Be aware of the responsibility you have in all of your choices to make them congruent with the truth of a birth trying to take place in this horrible situation, the birth of a new kind of humanity, and the death that will ensue if you continue just to choose blindly things that are destructive. It's a very dangerous situation, and we are very close to self-destruction. It's much later in the day than most people dare to realize, but I'm not hopeless. I've just spent 5 days with the Dalai Lama, so to be hopeless after that really would be insulting. But it's not just because there are people like him in the world. There are people like you, there are people like the people I met on the boat. ordinary, extraordinary people turning up raggedly with their hearts broken but with smiles on their faces, willing to start working for a new planet. I meet them all the time. Become one of them. You'll have much more fun being one of those who are trying to help this great birth take place than in just filling your belly or your bank account. My God, there are such wonderful things to do on the earth, and really turning up at this time as a birther of a new planet with other birthers is about the most extraordinary and joyful present you could give yourself.
Thank you. Thank you for helping us be hopeful.
We've got to be more than hopeful. We've got to be hope.
Be hope. And
we've got to be it. We've got to be the kind of person that when I meet you, I feel joyful because you're alert, you're vibrant, you understand, you care. We've got, all people have got to be like that. Because when you are hope, you give hope. And hope comes from the very fact of your presence. You ignite that hope in others. It's a wonderful thing to do.
Thank you, Andrew.
Thank you.
Can I get you to sign my copy?
Oh God, yes. Absolutely.
And then I think we have other people that would love to meet you. And thank you very much for your time.
Oh God, my pleasure. Are you kidding? This is my joy. This is my service. It's the only thing that makes me really happy is knowing I'm trying to do the very best I can to help people deal with this. And I can sleep at night knowing that I'm doing my best. But everybody can.
Yes,
yeah.
that's right.
And who knows where the journey will end? It could end very badly, but the point is, what are you going to, how are you going to live each day of your life knowing what we now know of the danger we're in? Right? Isn't it like that?
Exactly. Thank you.
My pleasure.